And welcome once again to Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr, joined by Juan Zarate, our national security analyst. Juan, good to see you.
Bob, good to see you.
Iraq is always a flashpoint, and it remains that way because the violence there just seems to get worse.
Yeah, it's actually becoming much worse, and we've talked about this at length. Sectarian violence in Iraq has grown. You have President Maliki unable to really demonstrate that he can lead all of the Iraqis, creating divisions between the Shia and the Sunni populations. At the same time, you have the resurgence of al-Qaeda in Iraq, both fueled by that sectarianism within Iraq, but also what's happening in Syria. The rise of al-Qaeda and the ability of al-Qaeda fighters to move in and out of Syria and Iraq has given strength and momentum to al-Qaeda in Iraq. And so what you see now in western Iraq is a battle for control of territory, where al-Qaeda has taken over towns that are now familiar to the American lexicon, places like Fallujah and in the Al-Anbar province, and the government now having to negotiate or fight their way to control these cities and towns again, all at the same time that there is disenchantment in the Sunni tribal base that was so important to the American surge and the success of the surge against al-Qaeda in 2007. And so Iraq is a real mess here, Bob. And Peter Baker from the New York Times put it well. We've talked about ending the war in Iraq. The war has continued. And al-Qaeda has not left the space, and the tensions and fissures in Iraq continue, and it's a mess.
This re-escalation, if you will, how much does that imperil the Maliki government? What can the Maliki government do about it, and what do they need from us?
Well, Maliki government has to do a couple things. One, they have to take control of the territory. They can't allow al-Qaeda banners to fly over Iraqi towns. It's just not acceptable. Al-Qaeda is an enemy of the state, an enemy of the Shia, enemy of the tribes in Al-Anbar. And so they have to retake these territories, either by negotiating al-Qaeda out with the support of the tribals or by force.
Can they do that, though?
Well, this is why they've come to the United States. They need our help. They need, they need Apaches. They need Hellfire missiles. They need our help in terms of intelligence. But Bob, this is very hard to do given the fact that we pulled out. I mean, this then starts the debate as to whether or not pulling out was, in toto, was a strategic mistake, because it's very hard now to sort of restructure our support mechanisms for the Iraqi military, and in particular the intelligence base. There's very little that we're going to be able to tell the Iraqis that they don't know in terms of what's happening.
Just quickly as we wrap up, couldn't the administration, though, make the argument that this was kind of unforeseen, this was much worse than anybody forecast, and therefore we have to go back in part with equipment?
Well, certainly the administration says we're going to help the Iraqis, but they're definitive in saying that this is an Iraqi fight. This is not an American fight. We're not going to put boots on the ground. We're not going to go back in the way we once did. That, in the minds of some in Iraq, is a statement of abdication of support. But it's probably the most we can do domestically, given where we are from a political vantage point. What the Maliki government has to do is not only defeat al-Qaeda, but start to mend the wounds with the Sunni population in the West. It's that disenfranchisement that has seen the growth of this instability and the ability of al-Qaeda to gain momentum, in addition to the problems in Syria.
This is a topic, obviously, one we'll come back to many times.
We're going to watch it.
Thanks as always.
Thanks, Bob.
And thanks to you for watching Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr. We'll see you next time.